Okay, so the Eagles just went out and made a pretty interesting move in the wake of Brandon Graham's injury, as they signed a young pass rusher who has some surprising potential and ability. So can he find a way to make an impact for this Eagles defense? Meanwhile, Brandon Graham is still finding ways to make an impact himself, as he sent an important message to the team after he went down, and it seems like the guys are all rallying behind him and ready to step up. Plus, BG also seemed to tease the possibility of not retiring after this year and returning for one final healthy season. So we're going to talk about that and all the other latest Eagles news starting right now. Hey guys, welcome to the Philly Fan 21 channel. If you're new, I'm Evan and I cover all things Philadelphia Eagles. And man, are there a lot of reasons to be excited about this team right now. I mean, here we are 12 weeks in and the vibes are super high as the Birds are red hot, as they've won 7 straight games, many of which were in dominant fashion, and they sit 2.5 games ahead of the Commanders for the lead in the NFC East and just 1 game behind the Lions for first place in the NFC. And with 6 games left to go, that top spot is still very much within reach, especially with the way they've been playing recently. As like I said, this Birds team has just been dominant at times, and it's crazy to say this, but they've actually been playing even better than they were in the 2022 season through 11 games, at least by the numbers. As when you compare them side by side, the 2024 Eagles have the edge in the scoring margin, the yardage margin, and the explosive play margin, which is just crazy given what we were saying about this team during the first quarter of the year. And it should give you some clear perspective on just how good the 2024 Eagles have actually been. And the Birds' impressive play has naturally earned them a lot of praise recently, even from a notorious Eagles hater in Nick Wright, who now all of a sudden is the self-proclaimed Eagles guy on his show First Things First.
They are going to be the NFC Super Bowl representative. So let me do something I don't know if I've ever done. Drop a banner in non-sarcastic fashion for another team that's not the Chiefs, which is, I'm officially the First Things First Eagles guy.
All I gotta say is the switch up is crazy. I mean, this is a guy who has done nothing but hate on the Eagles for years now. He's constantly trashed Jalen Hurts, and he also said at the beginning of the season that Saquon Barkley would not be a difference maker for the Eagles offense. But of course, now that the Birds and Barkley are playing great, he wants to all of a sudden jump on the bandwagon, and I think I speak for the majority of Eagles fans when I say that he can stay on that side. I mean, sure, it's entertaining, but he just can't switch up like that after all the trash you've been talking, you know? But honestly, at the end of the day, none of that stuff actually matters, as what's important for the Eagles at this point in the year is just going to be to stay focused, put their heads down, and continue to work hard, and that pretty much sums up Nick Sirianni's exact message to the team after the game.
Now, hey, listen to me. Listen. I want to keep it at this. Everybody watched that game, and everyone's calling you and telling you how fucking good you are. We have not done shit. Nope. Put your head down and work. It's the work that's got us here. You guys have been playing your ass off, and it's the work that's got us here. All right, let's pray.
You gotta love the messaging from Sirianni there, because he's 100% right. I mean, they have not done anything yet, and they can't buy into any of the outside hype. They just gotta stay locked in and continue to do the things that have got them to this point in the first place. And I mean, this team knows firsthand what can happen if you don't stay locked in, just because of obviously the collapse of last season that started right around this time, actually. So that's why it's so great to hear Nick Sirianni and also several players emphasize the importance of staying focused, as it seems like they're doing everything possible to avoid a repeat of last year.
I'm not satisfied. You know, we're not satisfied. I wasn't satisfied in the past. I'm not satisfied now. And I think we have last year to learn from players and coaches and how we approach certain situations. But now it's a day-by-day grind, you know. I'm not going to get too high, get too low. We're going to appreciate the moment. We're going to look at what we did and what we were able to accomplish, and then we're going to look at how we can be better at it.
We're happy with the day, but, we don't want to repeat last year either. I want guys to remember, what wins games, and that's practicing off its details and meetings and all your habits. That's what carries over to Sundays.
Kind of what Coach said. We've won a lot of games the last few years and haven't done the big deal. So, we got to keep our head down. Coach said, we haven't really accomplished anything this year. There's a lot of the season left, so we just got to keep our head down, keep working. I think we can keep climbing. We can even be better than we were today. So, it's just that mentality the rest of the way.
Judging by those comments, it certainly does seem like the guys are in fact staying locked in as they approach the stretch run of this season. And I think we do got to give some credit to Nick Sirianni for that real quick, as that mentality starts with him and his messaging, and he's just once again got all the guys behind him and bought into what he's been saying. So, I mean, yeah, you can say whatever you want about some of his his decision making or criticize his play calling at times, and believe me, I have done a lot of that recently, but you also got to give credit where credit is due, and again, Nick deserves credit for just always getting the guys to buy into what he's saying, not to mention the fact that he also just keeps winning, as he's now the only coach in Eagles history to have a winning record in each of his first 4 seasons, and he also has the highest win percentage of any active NFL head coach, and the 5th highest win percentage of all time. So again, despite whatever criticisms you may have of him, you at least got to give him credit for that, because that is not an easy thing to do. But while the Birds have been rallying behind Sirianni and buying into his messages all season, they now have somebody else to really rally behind in the fallen captain Brandon Graham. As of course, the defensive end just unfortunately suffered a season-ending and a possibly career-ending injury by tearing his tricep in the win over the Rams. And again, this just obviously sucks, because not only was this supposed to be BG's farewell tour, but he was also playing really, really well. So the fact that he will now be out for the rest of the season and his career may be over is honestly just heartbreaking.
Hold on. I'm trying to keep it in. Man.
I'm sorry. Take a moment.
Cool.
Take a moment,
cool,
Brandon.
man.
Take a moment, man.
Hey, and I know I needed it, but boy, I just love what we've been building, and I just don't want to. I know I ain't letting nobody down as far as getting hurt and stuff, because I know I'm gonna bring that energy.
Brandon, let me jump in for 1 second. You're not letting anybody down.
I know,
you're not letting the city down. Your teammates.
I know. I'm just
nobody.
saying, I'm not let it cross your mind. I got you, because I promise you, I'm just more hurt of just on how we've been coming every week, trying to defy, the odds and being with it, but being with them. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna be with them. I'm still with them. You know what I'm saying? I know that. But yeah, man, I just needed this right here. I needed to get this out. It's been a while since I cried, man. I'm just, hurting a little bit, because man, I just for the 15 years, I've been here and people doubt me. This was a big one for me, and I think I accomplished a lot this year. And man, if that just one little thing, but I know it's God's plan, man, and I'm trusting that, and so that's where I'm at. And but I needed this, man. I needed this in a big way.
Man, it's just hard to see BG hurting like that, and my prayers definitely go out to him as he's dealing with this injury. But I guess the silver lining, if there is any, is that BG is still very much going to be involved in things moving forward, and he's still going to be a leader for them throughout the rest of the year. And that was on display right after the win over the Rams, as very similarly to what happened in 2017 when Malcolm Jenkins gave a speech after Carson Wentz tore his ACL in LA. BG spoke to the team after the game and delivered a positive message. As he said, quote, "The mission is still the mission. Now I have to be great in my new role as a leader." So shout out to BG for just trying to stay positive through this incredibly tough situation and for continuing to help the team in any way that he can. And that the guys are all going to want to rally behind him just because of how great of a leader and teammate he is and how well respected he is in the locker room.
For me, I'm devastated for him, because he's probably one of the best leaders I've been around. Just not only how he plays, but how he mentors the young guys, on and off the field. He's, kind of like a father figure to a lot of these guys.
Now, one guy that seems to be rallying behind BG and who is also going to be looking to step up in his absence is the rookie Jalyx Hunt, as he posted a picture of the two of them together on Twitter while saying, quote, "Like you said, keep the main thing the main thing. The mission is still the mission." So it sounds like he heard BG's message loud and clear, and now this is going to be a big opportunity for Hunt, as he's going to be forced to play a lot more snaps with the injuries to BG and Huff, as he is now the team's 3rd edge rusher. So it's going to be interesting to see what the rookie is able to do in his new role, and hopefully he can get comfortable somewhat quickly and find a way to make an impact, because the Birds need all the help that they can get at the edge rusher position at this point. Speaking of which, the Birds did just actually go out and make a move to add some depth at that position, and the guy they brought in is actually really intriguing. And don't worry, we're going to get into that and more in just a minute, but real quick, I do want to say, if you are enjoying this video and you don't want to miss any other Eagles coverage or content just like this coming throughout the rest of this season, then make sure you guys subscribe, and also really, really importantly, turn on notifications so you're notified instantly when one of these videos is uploaded. Trust me, you guys are not going to want to miss any of the Eagles coverage or content I got coming on this channel throughout the rest of the year. I cover the Birds pretty much daily here, so if you want to stay up to date on all the latest Eagles news, this is the spot. So again, hit the subscribe button and also turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. And also, while you're at it, make sure you drop a like as well to show some support. It really does help me a ton. Let's see if we can get to 600 likes today. And now, with all that being said, let's get back into the video. So as I was saying, the Eagles did just go out and make a pretty interesting move to bring in an edge rusher in the wake of BG's injury, as Mike Garafolo NFL reported, quote, "The Eagles are expected to sign defensive end KJ Henry to their practice squad," source says. A 5th-round pick of the Commanders last year, Henry was let go by Dallas the other day and cleared waivers today, Philly adding depth on the edge after losing Brandon Graham for the season. And Henry is an interesting addition because, in addition to the fact that he's still young, with this being his 2nd year in the league, he's also a guy that has flashed some potential at the NFL level before, as in 2023 as a rookie, he appeared in 10 games for the Commanders while playing around 41% of the snaps, and he wound up with 19 total tackles, 1.5 sacks, and 2 passes defended, which, if you ask me, isn't terrible production for a 5th-round rookie and a guy who wasn't on the field very much. And then in just 2 games in a very limited role with the Cowboys this year, he was able to get a sack as well. So Henry has been able to find ways to make some plays in very limited opportunities during his NFL career so far, and he was also touted as a physical player with good hands and athletic traits coming out of college at Clemson. So I am definitely a fan of this move to bring in Henry, as judging by these numbers, he seems to have some ability. Now, do I think he's going to be a huge game changer? No, definitely not, but I'll still be interested to see if there's a chance that the Birds call him up for their next game, and if he is called up, what he's able to do in that role. That being said, though, if the Eagles have to choose one guy to bring up, my guess would be that it's Tarron Jackson who gets the elevation, as he's a guy who has spent a lot of time with the Eagles during the past several seasons, and back in 2021, he actually did play some meaningful snaps for them, plus he has also showed plenty of flashes during preseasons and training camps over the years. So again, I would expect the Eagles coaching staff to have more trust in him than Henry at this point, but we'll see how this plays out and who they do decide to elevate when the time comes around. And honestly, no matter who it is that gets brought up, it's really just going to be the guys that the Eagles already have playing meaningful snaps at edge rusher that are going to have to step up more than anybody, as with these injuries, it's looking like Josh Sweat and Nolan Smith are going to have to play a ton of snaps just due to the lack of true depth at that position, so hopefully they're up for it and they can still be consistently effective even with the increased workload. But we'll just have to wait and see regarding that. And same goes for Brandon Graham and his retirement status, as even though the assumption is that this was BG's last year and this injury has now officially brought an end to things, like I said in my video yesterday, he didn't rule out a possible return for year 16 when asked about it after the Rams game, so it still definitely seems like that's a possibility. And on Monday, BG hinted at possibly wanting to return for one more year, as he commented some fire emojis on Eagles fan E-Rock's post that was recruiting BG to come back for another year. So while this is far from confirmation that BG will be back next year, it at least gives us some hope and the idea that Graham would in fact love to play again. And I mean, he even said that on Sunday after the injury happened, as he specifically said that he doesn't want to go out like this, and if he can come back, he'd love to make it happen. So again, it definitely is still possible that BG could return for a final season, even though I'd still lean towards him ultimately retiring like he originally said before the year started. But what do you guys think? Could you see BG returning for one more year? You can give me all your thoughts on this situation down in the comments below. And again, also while you're at it, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of the Eagles coverage I got coming this week and also throughout the rest of the season. And also again, while you're at it, make sure you drop a like to show some support because it really does help me out a ton. Let's see if we can get to 600 likes on this video. And if you want to watch another Eagles video recapping the Eagles win over the Rams on Sunday night, you can check this out right here. And now with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.